Well, thank you all very much for joining us today. Welcome to this webinar on how to empower your students with research skills in the sciences of food and health through our new online training tutorial for FSTA. My name's Angela Ball. I'm the Customer Relations Manager at IFES Publishing. I'm joined today by my colleague Hannah, who is looking after the chat facility for us. We're based in the UK and produce the FSTA database, which you currently have access to via EBSCOhost. If you've got any comments or questions, please pop them in the chat facility and we'll go over them at the end of the presentation. We are recording the webinar and you'll get an email shortly afterwards with both links to the tutorials, our other free resources and a copy of the webinar. So this is what we're going to cover today. We'll start with a very quick introduction to IFES. And then after that, we'll do a quick recap on FSTA, just in case some of you aren't familiar with it, and how you can find the database on your library website. We're also going to cover some key issues that can have a negative impact on finding quality research in the areas of food science and health, and how FSTA can help overcome these. We'll then move on to the online training tutorial for customers on EBSCOhost. And then we'll end with details of additional support we offer and answer any questions that have arisen. So let's begin. IFES Publishing was founded in the UK in 1968 by 4 industry organisations in response to a growth of published research in food. We're a not-for-profit publisher and an educational charity, and we specialise in information discovery tools in the sciences of food and health. Our mission is to fundamentally understand and best serve the information needs of the community. And our primary product is the FSTA database, which we're now going to cover. So as you're all probably aware, there's so much information online, it can be difficult to find reputable research that's suitable for your needs. FSTA empowers you to focus on authoritative sources and relevant research directly related to the sciences of food and health. It covers a wide range of interdisciplinary content, from peer-reviewed journal articles and trade publications to conference proceedings and industry patents. It's full of high-quality scientific abstracts, and we add over 2,000 records a week. Your library is invested in FSTA for you and your colleagues and students. You can find it on your library website under the databases list. I'd like to take a moment, if I may, to talk about the library website for those who are joining us who are not librarians. It's probably likely your library has a discovery service. And this is a search implemented by your library that brings back results from your library's resources rather than you having to search individual databases. The discovery service looks like a Google-style bar on your library webpage, as shown in a couple of examples here. The single search box can give the impression that a search with it is searching every resource that your library has access to, but this is actually or may not be the case. What is searched with this system is dependent on which databases are integrated into or compatible with that discovery service. The content in FSTA will only be included in the searches of one of the discovery services that university libraries may use today. And this may or may not be what your library actually uses. So to avoid the problem of missing FSTA's content in your literature searching, we do recommend searching it by locating it within the database list, which will be on your website. It may say electronic resources or A to Z of databases, but generally university library websites will list these for you. And then you can click on FSTA once in the list to go straight to it within the EBSCO search platform. And this method also allows you to search via the FSTA Thesaurus, which we'll cover in more detail in a moment. So why should you use FSTA? To answer that question, let's have a quick look at some of the issues that we found from talking to people that are facing researchers and students when searching for scientific information. So to start, does the user know where to begin, or how do they understand database searching? What about how to search? And are they concerned that Are they concerned that they might be missing results because of how their search is framed? Or are their searches bringing back hundreds of or even thousands of results that no one has a time to go through? And that leads on to asking whether the results that are coming back are trustworthy. Fake science is an increasingly growing concern, with almost a fifth of articles output by the global scientific community published in predatory journals, which claim they're peer-reviewed but may not have been. So it can be very difficult to spot untrustworthy content, as they do look legitimate. And this presents a huge risk to researchers and students if they can't identify fake articles that might negatively impact theirs or their institution's reputation. So, how can FSTA help? We have the solution to the aforementioned issues. We have access to global research at your fingertips with unrivaled interdisciplinary content that's all anchored in food science. We have a very good policy for reviewing journals, so we're confident that we have no fake science. So you're confident in your research and your references. The efficient and effective searching with the FSTA Thesaurus means that the results you get back are relevant for you. And we also offer lots of support and learning with resources that we'll go over later. So looking at these features individually, multidisciplinary and global, FSTA's global coverage is unrivaled in food commodities and the related sciences. In 2022, journal articles alone were sourced from over 1,600 publications from 400 publishers in 66 countries, and they were from articles that were published in 28 languages. And you can see from the orange segment chart that the interdisciplinary subjects included within FSTA, which are all searchable from a food science and nutrition perspective. Every record has an English summary, and you can filter on the language of the full text as well. So, for example, looking at the multidisciplinary content, agriculture and agronomy falls into food supply. So FSTA covers any science in this area that impacts on the safety and nutritional values of the edible plant of any agricultural produce. As highlighted earlier, predatory journals have become a major problem for the academic community. This has enabled research of questionable quality that would not likely have been published in other higher quality journals to be made available on the internet for any unwary reader to find. We regularly add new journals to the serials coverage list. They're assessed for inclusion in FSTA by our team of experts. And this assessment is based on the journal's quality, integrity, and relevance to FSTA scope. So you can be confident all the results within FSTA are of a suitably high quality, and for academic journal content, are peer-reviewed and contain no fake science. The FSTA Thesaurus is produced in-house and is unique to FSTA. It contains over 16,000 terms and is a really fantastic tool to help people identify correct terms for searching and to narrow down or expand searches efficiently and effectively. Every record within FSTA is tagged with the relevant terms to the main context, so you can be confident that every record you return is relevant. The interdisciplinary content is also tagged with the thesaurus terms, so you can locate content such as microbiology, nutrition, veterinary coverage, etc., that is food related, which might be harder to locate in databases without these specific food terms. So as you can see on this slide, the example shows the hierarchy of terms for nutrition, and its narrower term diet, and then diet's narrower term diet therapy. And this just gives you one example of the depth of the thesaurus. Some of the hierarchies go up to 14 or 15 levels, enabling you to be really specific in your searching. So that's our quick summary on FSTA. Now we'll move on to why you're here, which is the online tutorial. So IFIS offers training on FSTA through regular scheduled webinars, and we also offer bespoke training sessions as required for individual organisations and universities. In addition, we have a YouTube channel focused on training, and pre-recorded training sessions, leaflets, and other free resources on our website, which we'll cover in more detail at the end of the presentation. But now we're going to focus on the tutorial. We've designed this in-house specifically for our customers who subscribe to FSTA on EBSCO. It's self-guided and suitable for students and researchers new to FSTA and/or EBSCOhost, as well as those seeking a refresher. It includes links to FSTA-specific information on the website, our website, as well as informative short videos and quizzes to test understanding. And users can choose to receive a certificate on completion, which makes it ideal for you if you want to be able to check if students have taken it. The tutorial has been created by Carol Hollier. She is IFIS's Senior Information Literacy and Outreach Manager. Before joining IFIS in 2019, she worked in instruction librarian roles for over 10 years at universities in both the United States and the UK. She has a master's in library and information science and a postgraduate certificate in higher education. I'm delighted to also confirm that the tutorials have already been reviewed by a selection of FSTA customers, librarians who have EBSCO access, and the feedback has been very positive. So we've split the tutorial into 3 sections, because it takes approximately an hour to complete. So by splitting it separately, it makes it less of a time commitment in one go. Each section needs to be completed in one sitting. This, unfortunately, is a requirement of the program we've used to create the tutorials, which is LibWizard. But we've decided, if necessary, if section 3 is too long, we will have the option in future to break that down further. It's not set in stone. But as you can see, the first section covers what's included and excluded. The second section is how to search Boolean operators, filters, the thesaurus, and keywords. And then the third section allows you to apply the learning with practical exercises with a certificate of completion available at the end of section 3. So we're going to look at the sections in slightly more detail. So here's a screenshot of one of the pages from section 1. It details the publication types included within FSTA. It also explains that the content covered is from 1969 to the present. We also illustrate what isn't included within FSTA in section 1, namely predatory journals containing fake science. We've included this 2.5-minute video in the tutorial, which gives a concise overview of the problems surrounding this and why FSTA can be trusted. So let's take a quick look at this video.
Predatory journals are a huge problem for science today. Nearly a fifth of the global scientific research community's annual article output is published in predatory journals. That's more than 420,000 articles per year that have not been properly read and checked by other experts in the field before publication. In other words, they haven't been peer-reviewed. Predatory journals take article processing fees from authors and publish their work as is. Predatory journals can publish anything and call it a scientific article. And anything means anything. On Google Scholar, we find this article published in the Scientific Journal of Research and Reviews. Hopefully anybody looking closely will realize it's a spoof, which the author wrote and published to showcase how predatory journals fail utterly to implement quality checks. The big problem, though, is that spotting articles published in predatory journals is usually not so easy. Predatory journals claim their articles are peer-reviewed. Sometimes they attach the names of important experts in a field to their journal without asking or telling the person they are doing it. This makes it hard for non-experts and for students who are building expertise to spot when an article isn't sound. This article, for instance, looks legitimate, but it was published in the same issue of the same journal as the spoof article, so we can infer that no experts reviewed it. Even advanced researchers can't always easily identify when a journal is predatory because these journals try to look as legitimate as possible. But FSTA's editorial team of expert food scientists check every journal included in the database to be sure they are legitimate and really do carry out the peer review they say they do. Between 2017 and 2021, the team excluded 147 suspected predatory food science and nutrition-related journals from FSTA. Articles from 146 of these journals are included in Google Scholar, and articles from 44 of them are included in PubMed. This is one of the reasons that using FSTA to find your food science research makes a whole lot of sense.
So that's that video, which I think really illustrates well the power of using FSTA. And there's also a short quiz at the end of section 1 to test learning. And as mentioned earlier, it should take an average 10 minutes, including the video. So it's a nice quick session to ease the users in. So moving on to section 2, this starts exploring the mechanics of search in FSTA on EBSCOhost. It starts by looking at records and then about the search terms used. So as you can see from this screenshot, it also covers the thesaurus, which underpins any search in the database and makes the terms more powerful than they would be on their own. We've included in here as well a short video on the power of the thesaurus compared to Google Scholar. So we'll just show you this one as well. Again, it's only a couple of minutes.
Google Scholar versus FSTA, the power of indexing. Google Scholar and FSTA work very differently in how they find the results they show you. One of the main differences between how they function is because Google Scholar is searching for exactly the word or words that you type, while FSTA is built on a thesaurus of controlled vocabulary. This thesaurus, which is compiled by food science experts, is comprised of terms all focused on and relevant to the sciences of food and health. These terms are arranged relationally. When researchers from different parts of the world use different words to describe the same concept, the thesaurus pulls those terms together. So in the FSTA thesaurus, flavor, spelt with a U, is used to make research that uses flavor with no U or taste, all discoverable with a single search. The way that this happens is that an indexer for FSTA assigns the thesaurus term to each record to capture what that piece of research is about. This article about quinoa does not have the word flavor in its title or abstract, but flavor has been assigned to it because the indexer has noted that it was about a bitter tasting layer, which is another way to describe flavor. Google Scholar, on the other hand, has no controlled vocabulary. So when you search Google Scholar for flavor with a U, you get one set of results. Add an S, get a new set. Search flavor without a U, we get a new set entirely. Add an S to that, another set. Taste, different again. Tastes, yet again. Tasting, again. Move to another language, Spanish, and most of the results are actually in English. Search Italian gusto, and it happens again. And when we search in Korean, we get an entirely new set of results. We could keep going, and the results would keep changing and changing and changing again. If we go back to FSTA and do a search for flavor, we get results with both flavor spellings, taste, and plurals, thanks to the thesaurus underpinning our search. In fact, with a single search for flavor in FSTA, we get results in all these languages pulled together for you without you needing to figure out all the 40+ versions of the word you would need to search in Google Scholar. And the titles and abstracts of each of these records will be available in English, so you can make an educated judgment about whether you actually need the full text. And that is the power of indexing.
So that I would just like to point out as well that all of the videos, as well as having subtitles, there is a transcript available on the tutorials as well. So carrying on with the section 2 contents, covers how to build a search by identifying key terms and concepts from a research question, and how to use Boolean operators as shown in this screenshot. Also covered in section 2 is how to identify alternative terms for concepts and how to modify terms using truncation. And the options for filtering are also explained. We have one more video to show you in this presentation. This is a example video in section 2 that walks users through the example used for identifying terms and how to use Boolean operators and truncation.
So now we will build our search in FSTA. First, we'll type optimize in the first search box and type texture in the second one and type red in the third one. Then we can add in row using that plus and type oats in the final box. We could add more rows if we needed to. Hit search and no results are found. So even though we found good search terms, we need to try some more. So we'll use our ORs and type OR, improve or enhance against optimize and OR mouthfeel against texture. Hit search again. And now we actually get 16 results. So that's better than none. If we scroll down a bit, we can get a sense of whether or not they are on target, and they are actually looking on target. But let's see if we can do better by using the truncation. So truncate optimize, truncate improve, truncate enhance. Do the same for texture. Don't really need to for mouthfeel, but red. And then we're going to take the S off oats and truncate oat and hit search. And you can see how that very much is expanded our search results. We've got 44 now. If we scroll down, they are again looking very much as though they will be useful.
Sorry, I've just realized I've managed to slip back. Bear with me 1 second. So yes, that was the example on section 2 that shows you all the different ways. And one of the great things about the all of the sections is that, as shown in that video, you might not necessarily get the right results once. So we're on the first go. So we're really highlighting to people that they have to adapt their searches and try different methods rather than just running a search, not finding anything because they haven't used the right terms and giving up. So we're really trying to explain that, you know, you do have to search a few times to get the best out of it. So section 3, which is the last section, that is the longest section, this actually gives the user the opportunity to apply what's been learned in FSTA with practical exercises using your library subscription to FSTA on EBSCO. As users are taken through the exercises, they're presented with questions relating to the results they find. So this first exercise here has the user search for a specific record and identify key terms, and then using the record's key terms, explore possible alternative searches. And then I have a screenshot from a second exercise that takes the user through the stages of searching with the thesaurus, and that includes moving through the hierarchies of broader and narrower terms. It also covers related terms and the benefits and how to explode a term. And there is a video at the start of the exercise that shows users how to access the thesaurus on EBSCOhost and how to search it. So at the end of the section, there is a 14-question exam that tests the user's knowledge of all 3 sections of the tutorial. And all the questions in section 3, which is a total of 25, but not just those 14 in the exam, are used to make up that user's final grade. When they answer a question correctly, it will say, yes, this is correct. If they get it wrong, it will pop up with either a hint, or will tell them that the answer is incorrect and give them a hint and ask them to try again. And when they submit their answers at the end, they're presented with their results and a summary of all the correct answers. And then, as we mentioned, there is also a certificate of completion, which includes how many questions the user got correct. and they can email, print or download this certificate. And you can use this as a means of checking if your students have successfully completed the tutorial, and you can also choose your own pass level out of 25. We are also offering a service where we can, if you would like to embed this in your library web page, we can provide a personalization service. So we could add your logo to the 3 tutorials, or direct links to FSTA on your library website, and possibly if you want contact details for your subject liaisons. So why do we think you should be using this? Well, the benefits of this new tutorial: we know that library and faculty are incredibly under time pressure at the moment. So we feel this will help because it gives the basics for FSTA without you having to put any input in. It gives students that basic understanding and awareness of predatory publishing. We hope it will lead to better student bibliographies and better literature reviews. It gives them specialist database and platform training, which we think will be a transferable skill, not just for other resources on EBSCOhost, but other platforms, which obviously include Boolean operators and truncation. It gives them guidance on search terms to enable them to get more targeted results through the FSTA Thesaurus, so giving them more confidence in themselves in searching. And we hope that you'll agree that it can be incorporated as either a course requirement or possibly a flipped classroom exercise. I mentioned earlier as well that we have further resources and support that you're more than welcome to use. We obviously offer FSTA webinars. They're always on our website in terms of you can sign up for when the next one is going to be, and there are also recordings of previous ones that you can view on demand. We have a guide to predatory journals that you can direct students to, that gives them a lot more information. We have also, which Carol has produced, a best practice for literature searching and a good review practice systematic review methodology in the sciences of food and health. The good review practice is very new, and that has been reviewed by a number of people on our advisory boards, both librarians and food science faculty members. We have a guide to getting published, and we also have 2 blogs, one on food science and one on research skills. So they're all available via our website, ifis.org, and you'll receive links to these resources along with the recording and links to the new tutorial, our tutorial sections after the webinar. So we've reached the end of the presentation, so I'd like to check in with Hannah if there are any comments or questions. I'm going to pop my email address in the chat for you now as well. So if anyone wants to contact me afterwards, they can do.
And I have a question here of what do you consider a pass grade to be?
Well, I mean, I think it's entirely up to you as to what you feel is an acceptable pass grade for your students. I would probably suggest around an 80% mark. I'm not sure what pass grades you currently use, but that would be 20 out of 25 questions.
Fantastic. Thank you very much. Okay, and another question that we have, if there are any particular areas within the tutorial we feel would benefit from further clarifications for our university's needs, can you make the changes?
Yeah, I think we could. It might take a week or so to build that in, but I think we could, you know, depending on response, we could either adapt the general tutorials or provide a bespoke version if need be.
Fantastic. Thank you so much for answering those questions. We don't seem to have any further questions at this moment. If anyone does want to send them in using the chat function, please do. Otherwise, you'll see that Angela has sent her email address in the chat. And so if you think of something afterwards, then I'm sure she would be happy to help.
Yeah, and we would love to hear your feedback as well to the tutorials once you've had a chance to have a look at them properly. And we really hope you find them useful and that your students find them useful. Okay. Well, if there's no more questions for now, I'll end that now and just say thank you once again for joining us, and we'll forward the recording and links shortly. Thank you very much.